called Vertex 360. Now, the idea behind Vertex is for non-programmers, so this is for non-technical people, is for them to be able to quickly launch and configure a website and basically just run it, similar to like Squarespace or Wix or something like that. So that's the idea behind Vertex. But the important thing for you, if you're a programmer, to understand is that these Vertex websites are actually just launched on Turbo 360. So really, this is just sort of a like an abstraction of Turbo 360. Whenever a person launches something on Vertex, all they're really doing is launching a Turbo 360 website, which, as you know, if you've been following my tutorials, is just Node and Express. So it's a Node Express website. So why is that important? Because these other platforms like Wix and Squarespace and WordPress and whatnot, they're all very specific to their own thing. Like if you launch a website on Squarespace, you effectively have to know Squarespace, or if you don't, you have to hire someone who knows Squarespace. It's not like Squarespace runs websites on like PHP or well, I know WordPress does, but like Python, Django, or anything like that. It's its own thing. Same as Wix. So the real value add here is that if you run a small business or like a startup or whatever, and you launch a website on Vertex 360, let's say sometime down the road, 3, 5, 6 months down the road, you need to make a lot more sophisticated customizations. You need to add a lot more stuff that's not out of the box per se. You can hire someone either off Turbo or just anyone who knows Node Express, and they can just take over the project from there. So it's not like they have to learn the Vertex environment or the Vertex system, or even Turbo for that matter. Like you have to learn a few commands, but again, Turbo 360 is just a Node Express environment. That's really all it is. So as long as you know Node and Express, you can launch a project on Turbo or Heroku or Amazon or whatever. It doesn't really matter. To give you an example, this website here for Vertex, I created this website using my Turbo scaffolds because it saves me a lot of time and just makes life a lot easier. But I did not deploy this website on Turbo. I just deployed this on a separate EC2 instance, mostly because my branding sites I try to keep separate. So I try to keep my one branding site on one instance and then another branding site on another, to keep things nice and clean and separated. So the point here I'm trying to make is that even though I created this project on Turbo, I didn't deploy it on Turbo. It's just deployed on a Node Express server on Amazon. Plain and simple. So again, the main idea there, the main value add, is that you don't have to know all this highly Turbo specific stuff. That's called vendor lock-in. There's effectively no vendor lock-in. You can even just redeploy on, you can just take a project from Vertex and redeploy on Amazon if you want to. I mean, at the end of the day, it's all deployed on Amazon anyway. I built Turbo entirely on top of Amazon. So, okay, enough talk. Let me give you a quick demo so you can kind of see the idea, how it works in real time, and how it could benefit a non-programmer, but then how that could benefit you if you're looking to pick up some work in the freelance game or get some clients or stuff like that. So try to look at this from the perspective of a non-technical person. Let's say I visit Vertex 360 and I look at a couple of these website templates, examples that I can launch on my own account, and I think this one here looks pretty good. This is a landing page. I can also click on the resume if I need a resume. But let's say I'm running a startup and I need a landing page, right? So I can go here. I can look at a live example. So here's a live example of the actual landing page, right? And if I go through this and I think, all right, this looks pretty good. I want to launch this as my landing page. I go down here to the bottom and I have to give my landing page a name for my own project. So I'm going to call it my awesome startup. And then I'm going to launch it. So what's going on here is that Vertex is currently launching a whole project on Turbo using this template as like the seed data. So it's taking all the CSS and the files and static assets and whatnot and configuring it and putting it into it's my account right now and setting up the Turbo project and getting all that going. This normally takes about 30 to 60 seconds, and now this is ready to go. So now I have this site running on my account. So first thing I'm going to want to do naturally is take a look at it. So I click on View Site, and I see I should see the same thing, which I do. Yeah, there it is. But notice here how this little widget pops up on the left-hand side after a couple seconds. If I reload, you'll see this widget pop up, which you didn't see before. The reason why I see this widget pop up is because I own this website. So I am the owner of this website, and this widget is sort of like a mini admin console that I can use to update the contents. So it's important to understand that not everyone will see this. In fact, only you will see this if you own the website. So if I copy this this URL, and if I navigate to that URL using a different browser, right? I should not see that widget because now I don't own the website. I'm not logged in. So this is what everyone else would see. So this is the website running. This is my website running from the perspective of another visitor. So now that I am running my website and I can see it, and I have this little admin dashboard, here's where I can make updates. So for example, if I click on page configuration, you'll see it's segmented into sections. Each section has a portion on this page that I can use to edit. So if I click on header, you'll see the header text. That's this right here, the lead subtext, background image, etc. So if I click on welcome to my startup, and then go down here and submit the updates, it will reload the page with the updated data. One thing I'm working on soon is making this live, so you won't have to reload, but that's not quite ready yet. I'm going to need another maybe week on that, but pretty soon this will be updated live. So if I click on this again, click on the header, I can do all sorts of things, right? Like we are revolutionizing the tech industry, and then submit the updates, and then I'll see that here. And then if I want to change one of the images, here's the image background, I click on this, but see how there's no images here? That's because this is a brand new site. So the site has no, none of your data is already here. So what I do is click out of here, I go back to the main menu, and I click on images and files. And here's where I can upload my own images. So let's say I go to, well, I'll just grab from the desktop. So let's say I want to, here's a new logo I'm thinking about using for Vertex. Let me just upload that, right? And then it's going to upload that logo. So now I have access to this logo image in my configuration options. So I can click on that, and here it is. I'm not going to do that here. I'm going to scroll down to another section. So you see where it says Feature 1? That's down here in Section 1. I'm going to change the image and select the logo, and then here it is. And logo. This is going to be the logo for my awesome startup. So now I'm updating the content in this area, right here. So I can click on Submit Updates, and then you should see this logo. This is going to be the logo for my awesome startup, and this is over here. Now this widget might be in the way. Pretty simple. You just click on that, gets it out of the way, and then you can see the site as everyone else would see it, except for this little option right here where you can go back to the widget. And that's pretty much the quick and dirty of how you launch a website on Vertex and make quick changes if you're a non-programmer. Bear in mind, we have not done any programming so far. So that's a very important thing to understand. So let's say I'm the owner of this website, which I obviously am, and then I want to, I'm running the website, it's going well, I'm getting a lot of business, I'm getting a lot of signups, things are going great. And so I decided it's time to now move on to the next level and hire a dedicated developer who can take this project to the next level. And now, reason why I say that is because in my career over the past 4 or 5 years, oftentimes I've been that developer. So this would sort of represent a very typical project for me back in my earlier days when I was getting started in web development in New York City, working with startups. So that's sort of the impetus behind this project. So let's say I'm at that stage and I need to take this website and make further customizations. That's going to require a lot of customized work, stuff that Vertex doesn't do out of the box. Maybe I want to add, like a chat room or something like that. I can go here, and then I click on download source. And what's happening right now is I'm downloading the source code for this entire website, which again is just a project on Turbo, and all projects on Turbo are just Node and Express. So if I open up the project, it actually downloaded 2 files, by the way. It downloaded the package.zip and the environment configuration, because remember, you do need an env config for most projects. So when I take a look at the package.zip file, inside here you will see just a regular Node Express or Turbo project. You see the views directory, you see models, you see controllers, the app.js, and then you do have an environment config that's specific to your project. It's basically your environment config. So let's say I go to this. Let's say I want to open this up and start looking at the source code. You'll see here is the source code that represents this website. And again, this is just coming from the Turbo environment, the Turbo architecture. So you can just redeploy this on your own Turbo account if you wanted to, and it should work lickety-split. I am going to cd into this and try to run it locally just to make sure everything really is working the way it should. So let's say downloads, and then package. Okay, so I'm currently in the root level of the project. I'm going to create the env file. So right now we have an empty env file, and then I'm going to use the env file that came with the initial download to populate the env. So now the env file is ready to go. I'm going to remove the node modules, because I sometimes find that reinstalling the node modules is a good way to go. So I'm going to do npm install and just reinstall all the packages just to make sure there's nothing missing. Just a quick way to make sure that we covered all our bases. And then once we confirm that, let's run the local Turbo dev server. So again, this is a Turbo project, right? So everything we do on Turbo should work here. So let's give it a spin. Okay, and then Turbo dev server. Dev server is running localhost 3000. So, and here we are. So now I'm running localhost 3000, and I'm running the same project as I was running before. Now keep in mind, I downloaded the original files, right? So all the config hasn't been downloaded with it. It's whatever came with it originally is what's running here. So now you can download you download the updated config files and whatnot, so that you see exactly what's shown here. I'll show you how to do that in another tutorial. But the important takeaway is that we created a new website on Vertex, populated a few small details, and then we downloaded the source code of that website and then ran it locally as a Turbo project, which again is just a Node Express project. So I'm using the Mustache templating engine. Here's the app.js. You can see all the usual, the routes, controllers. I had to do a couple small things to make it Vertex compliant, but these aren't major things. We have our controllers, our models, all the stuff you would normally expect to see in a best practices Node Express application is now running here. So if you're a developer and you're watching this, think of this as a really good tool for onboarding new clients for freelance projects. This is the sort of thing that I would do for my clients from the bottom up, but getting this initial template built in and the initial routing and the config, that alone would take me a bunch of hours that I'm billing my client for. and it would be a huge pain in the ass. And then my client would ask all sorts of things like, hey, can I update this? Can I update that? And then I would have to just manually do it because my client couldn't figure out how to update stuff on Heroku, stuff like that. So Vertex is meant to solve a lot of those problems. So your client can update basic things like this text and that. Your client can do upload files and whatnot. But then when it's time to sort of call in the big dogs and get some real programmers in there, they can just download the source code right here, hand it off to a programmer, hopefully you, and start paying you money to make some real robust changes. So that's the idea behind Vertex. I'm not quite rolling this out yet for startups and small businesses quite yet because A, I just really got done testing it, to be honest, and B, there's not enough templates to start with. So I'm going to start building out a lot more of these. And if you'd like to help me with building some of these templates, that would be great. We can discuss some sort of compensation. I can pay you per template, or I do also plan on offering these templates on a per monthly basis to the customer. So for example, maybe if somebody wants to launch this landing template on their account, they would have to pay the creator, hopefully someone like you, like $5 a month or something like that. Or maybe a one-time fee, like a $25 flat fee. I'm still kind of working all that out. So if you're interested in something like that, shoot me an email and we can discuss how to make that happen. But that is the sort of long-term game here. So here is my email. And so if you're interested in making some templates to get this going, that's sort of my next priority for the next month or so. So hopefully this makes sense. I'm going to do some more follow-up videos on how to work with Vertex templates. But again, most of it you should already know if you've been following any of my Turbo content. These are just Turbo projects. That's it. So please leave some feedback or some comments, questions, anything of that sort, letting me know what I can do to improve the platform or any ways that the platform can be even more useful for your development work. Specifically as it relates to freelancing or building websites for businesses and non-technical people. So that's it. Thanks for watching. Hope